I said, well, you kids know better than you couldn't go to Western Road. Sis looked up at me and she said, oh, Mama, I knowed if he was going, I had to show him the way. Little old sweet thing.
I was about 2 years older than him, a year and a half, I could tell.
Well, it's 20 months difference.
20
And it's all, and he had his little overalls on. He was little and slim, and you was too, and just a little tot. Going to Western Road. I caught you just before you stepped out in Cherry Street now. Oh, I was thankful I went.
But I couldn't tell him he couldn't do anything. Because when we were on the ridge, and I'd be doing laundry or something, or trying to pick beans at 4th of July time when we could shoot firecrackers, he'd have matches out, shooting firecrackers out.
And I went out there and seeing how many matches there was on that banister rail. It's a wonder he had. It's a good thing you called me, but
the house could have been burned
it's a
down.
wonder he had to set it afire. I never seen so many matches.
Yeah, I know. I was sorry.
All on that, what do you call that, banister rail? Is what it was.
It was the it had a railing that, and I wanted to try to buy that house so bad.
I had a Redwood magazine, true story, and I had a story in it, and I'd go out there on my day off once in a while when I'd take time, because you'd have a big bag of clothes sprinkled down the arm usually, or a washing one to do on your day off. But one time I remember reading a story out there on that old porch out that bedroom, and in a chair. I don't think we had lawn chairs back then. I think it was one of those straight back.
An old straight back chair from inside.
I didn't let back, I think.
Yeah.
One man's down there in the building hung up. The old green straight back chair.
Yeah, you've seen that, haven't you, April, Lord?
$25 a month.
Yeah, Elizabeth Woodrow. Let's just get that.
Yeah.
They knew about it. They wanted. They thought we was paying too much rent, $50 a month. And Mitchell said,
where was 50 at? Where were we at before
we
that?
paying
Maple?
50. No, that across from.
Oh, you mean the one on Spruce?
Yeah.
That, yeah, but you weren't paying.
No, we was paying 25 in that house over there on Ridge.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Woodrow said you're paying too high rent when we was living up there on Maple Street paying, and said, and then when this come up for sale, Mitchell said you better grab it, you know, because rent's fixing to go up and you can't put them kids through school. You and them just don't make enough.
Yeah,
said,
that's
I know
when
how it
we
is.
lived across the street.
Yeah, and so
from where we were at.
So
We
we
bought
bought
that house.
in '67. We bought that there.
For $8,000.
Yes. And he'd go up to Top Rock and tell Kyla. She said, Granny, I can't remember that man's name, but he come in that he said he's regretted selling that. See, he's one payment behind, and we borrowed the money from Granny Essie to do that. And got in that house, and Mitchell helped us to get that, because he told us about it. He said, if you don't get it, he'll get out of the notion. And he'd go, Don would go over at that Top Rock, and he said, boy, I regretted selling that. And he told me a time too. Don goes at Massachusetts, we bought it off of.
But they bought a house down the street.
Yeah, they did. One that Johnny Irvin and Regina lived in.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Oh, yeah, they bought a house down there.
I knew
Or
Don
they rented
Mathis.
one, I don't remember. Maybe they rented before they bought out yonder. Where John's at now. But anyway,
Tell me that story.
we had that camper his dad give us on that white truck that you grandpa bought off of that white Chevy. And we camped in that a lot. I know one night we went over there and your dad was already over there, and I'd cooked white beans and had a pot. And boy, was he ever glad he lit in the damn white beans to take me for a break. I'd cooked a pot of white beans and a vegetable meal and took it over there to the lake. And he was over there, and he said, boy, I'm sure I'm glad you bought that.
Yeah.
And I remember that about him so much, how well he liked that beer.
My favorite was the fried potatoes on the camping.
Yeah, and me and Kay had that big old skillet that's in the bottom, and we thought we'd lift it. We could lift that when we had it on one of them cooler things out there. And
Because
And
She
big
said,
scale, you remember that?
"Oh,
Yeah.
I thought surely we could both lift that, but we couldn't.
well, you can't lift it on this end. You need to have something.
You have to scoot it. You can't
You have
lift
to have
it.
a
We
big
couldn't
car
hardly
holder
scoot
to
it.
try to. Because you
We couldn't hardly scoot it. It's heavy.
No,
You get full of fried potatoes, you sure can't.
get 10 pounds of potatoes in
We
it.
just had to dip that. But me and Sally, I fried potatoes. Wib says, boy, and of course, not Gail, Mark, he really liked my chocolate pie.
Yeah.
And then John eat that and then I messed up and wouldn't tell me. I'll always remember that about him.
That's why he said,
He wouldn't have
John,
it
what are
done.
you doing lying to Wilma, your mother-in-law?
I know. Is that good pie? Mmm, good, Mama.
Oh, bless his soul.
Well, she got a bite of it.
That ain't fit for a
She's-
dog to eat.
Yeah, she
I
said,
could have whipped him,
"You've
but
done something
I don't
wrong."
dare to try, cause I got whipped. I never had no trouble with my son-in-law, and I never had any trouble with my daughter-in-law. I
No.
made up my mind years ago that I wasn't gonna have. I've seen people have rucuses in the family, and I didn't want that. Flowers and the butterfly, the buttons is the flowers, and then the butterfly in the flowers.
And you made that.
I made it.
Wow.
They give me this white deal and the brushes and there's two colors of a deal
Yeah.
with two colors of green in it, 2 shades of green,
Many different
And,
colors of dress.
and then the buttons and some glue, and you put glue on.
Well, that's cool, Granny.
Well, when I brought it over here and it's laying on the table, I thought, you mean I done that? I couldn't believe it.
We made it look like it
Okay,
had a Santa
they,
Barbara handle.
Mitchell said,
A what?
They let them have some plywood, some scrap plywood, and built them a little square house.
Yeah, and we could get in it.
And it was big enough to get in.
Who built it?
Me and Shannon and Amy,
Did Mitchell Hipkins?
probably.
He was a carpenter, and it was his idea, and he gave us a mirror.
Yeah, and we hung a
The
mirror.
mirror's down
on
there in the
Sunday.
old building.
I want to
think.
see it.
I think it is in that old side.
Cool.
Anyway, everything. In Kelly even put our umbrellas goodness down there in that old building. There wasn't no place for an umbrella. The one I got from Avon, a pink and a pretty, and
Well, that, okay, Granny, we used to watch all the soap operas. It'd go all the way through Santa Barbara. And we put a big broom handle on there to look like it was a big door, like one of those expensive door handles. Do you remember that?
in that playhouse.
On the front of that playhouse, yeah.
Yeah. And they got in there and they had a little, they got a cousin dispute. I don't know, who was it with?
Oh no.
Anyway, you and Amy and I don't
With
know.
Shannon, I'm sure.
Shannon, I guess. But anyway, they had a little disagreement. Shannon said, well, they got a cousin dispute going on out there. You know, we better go settle it. Mitchell was a good neighbor. And he told us about that house being for sale in 67. He said, you better go get it while rent's going up. You'll never fit it on our salaries we make. You'll never be able to pay high rent.
And then
Look.
you
We married at 70.
Really?
Yes, we did.
tell Dana about getting them, selling a rooster or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. Kel said, well, we dated, and Mom and Dad liked him. The first boy I dated, he come by to get me, to take me to Carmar Show. We was walking, carrying the kids. I was the oldest, and Daddy made me carry one of the kids. And Ralph Hawkins come, he claimed me, so he come by to get me. He's going to walk me to the theater. Dad said, well, you carry this kid. And he had work shoes on. Dad said, you're not dating a man, a boy that has to wear work shoes if he can't wear dress shoes. He said, you're not walking with nobody that way. I said, that's the reason I made you carry that. So
Because he didn't wear his work shoes.
he didn't, and he wore a white shirt, and he had a plastic belt, and he wore a 29-32 length.
Oh, she's got the details, doesn't
Yeah.
she?
I weighed 116 pounds
Oh my goodness.
when we met and married. And I tried to keep it down. I I didn't want to get past 125. I know when I had temple arteritis and I was supposed to go to the hospital, I got off on the wrong track. Okay. Mommy had to sign for us. She said, well, I don't want to do this, kids. It's against my will. And I guess I said, I don't want to sign this, but if you think you've got to, I reckon I will. So she would raise roosters and sell them and raise chickens, you know, set the eggs on the ends and raise them. And so she sold them roosters, and that's what we bought our marriage license on. And we came to Harrison with Joyce in the back of a produce truck. Joe Gladden, Francis Gladden's husband, drove the truck. That's how we come, and we married down there in the courthouse. And Justice of Peace, he chewed tobacco. T.P. Saunders was his name. And Joyce was there as our witness, my sister. And Gil had to squeeze my hand because I didn't hear him and I wasn't answering. She said, Dad, Gil thought you wasn't going to.
I thought you were backing
was
out.
going to marry her.
That's funny.
Oh, that's so funny.
But yeah, and I told that Pepsi when I was working out there, we used to smack sorting cartons. And I told that, and every time I turn around, they want me to tell how I bought my marriage license.
I know, I love that story.
Yeah,
Which to it?
it was there, but it wasn't that big. Kel added on to it.
Oh.
The utility room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just went so far where that little high place. Well, they took the end out of it. It had windows in the end of it, but there's wooden windows in the whole house. And Kel, we ordered them through Miller Hardware, those metal windows.
Okay.
And when we'd get a vacation, 3 weeks, we'd work day and night. I scolded Kay for telling her that her and Kenny better not work too hard. She said, now, Gran, who do you think you're talking to? Said, you got a lot of room to talk. Said, remember when you and Paul would get 3 weeks vacation and you would work till midnight every night? And every day you was off. You spent all of your time working on that house. And Mitchell told us, he said, you're going to get more in that house than you'll ever get out of it. So Kel took the old wooden windows out, put them metal ones in, and we had some good storm windows on the upper side of the house, part of the house, but not all of them, but part of the windows. But there's these that had weights in them, them old wooden windows.
Yep.
Okay, so Kel said, I'm getting rid of them lights. And he did, and put them in, and then we put all that paneling in. It used to be sheetrock. And
You
we
hung the paneling in the house?
Huh?
You and Kenneth hung the
Oh yeah,
paneling?
we hung it. There wasn't nothing he wouldn't tackle and do. He built our bedroom suit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yep.
The other day when we were at your house, we stopped by to use the restroom, and was I showing you? The red, you could see at the top of Mom and Kenny's
Yeah.
bedroom.
Oh, well, we was Elizabeth Woodrow would help. We'd help them, they'd help us. It was real good friends. And so we'd fish together, we'd work together. I cleaned her house for her, and she paid me when she was working, and before I started working out. And we was just real close, and lived neighbors. And so when this house on Ridge come available, we was paying higher rent, and they got that first and told us about it, $25 a month. We lived there on Ridge for fish together. One 4th of July, Woodrow had a small boat, and I was afraid of the lake and afraid of the water. I wasn't going to go. I told her to take the lawn chairs I'd set on the bank. Before we left, I said, don't take them lawn chairs. She said, what do you think you're going to do? I said, I'm going to get in that boat and cut it out. Well, I did. Well, guess who caught the most? The first and the most fish. Beginner's luck. And Woodrow said, well, I'll get up here and buy you a fishing license. I said, I don't need that. He said, you ain't getting in my boat without them, young lady. So he went and he was perched, some of them, but it's fish. And Kenneth, he couldn't get a bite. And we went to Alaska to visit his brother, and he took us deep sea fishing in his boat. And guess who caught the first halibut? 45 pound. Me.
45 pounds.
Oh, I said, Bill, his brother, he's drinking bourbon, and he had more than he needed on him. He said, you watch this. He said, where's Kenneth and Wilda, is why I said they're in the cabin, they're seasick. And I said, I wouldn't have thought Kenneth would have got that way, but them waves would get 13 foot swells, 13, 15 foot high. It went to knocking everything off the tail, and I went to setting down. She said, no use to do it. Well, let's knock it off again. I said, them swells is 13, 15 foot high. Oh, Lord. My first job after I married, well, I went to work in the lower part of town, what was called Oldman's, but I didn't stay. If I'd have listened, if I'd have known later, then what I know, back then you could work or you didn't have to. So I didn't care whether I worked out or not. If I'd looked at it right, I could have made a floor lady at the garden factory, because Griff Blanson, people hated it, women hated him. And he told me Kenneth got sick and had a bad kidney disease. Kidney infection, not disease. But he said, I know you're telling the truth and I'm gonna let you off. And he let me off. And he said, I can tell these other women, they lie. Well, so he gave me every chance down in the world. And I look back at it now, but later, if I would have toughed it out and we'd have had if I'd just said, well, I'm going to work out, I could have made a floor lady. Because he gave me every chance in the world. Give me different jobs. And,
But what did you do then?
well, he let me press,
Oh wow.
and he let me bar what they call it. You clip them, inspect them. You clip the extra strings off of them with the little tweezers, or little
Snips.
snippers. And he gave me several different jobs, different opportunities. And I was too ignorant then. And think, well, I work or I don't have to. But I looked at things like I did later.
Yeah.
So then the first real job after that I had was at nights. We lived on the ridge, and I was taking the kids. The daytime I was working now at the drive-in, and Maxine Morris, which was Maxine Horn, went to school with me. She said, well, you go out there at Jerry's drive-in and get a job at night, for me. So that was my first job. I worked for Jerry for 14 years.
At night?
And then, yeah. I worked nights and weekends. And then and I left work at Pepsi in 71.
So what did you do when you worked nights?
When I worked at the drive-in, well, I wanted to work at the grill, and I didn't want to face front. And one Saturday night, Jerry said, you got to get up here and work this front window. He taught me to count
Money.
count the money,
Uh-huh.
you know. And we didn't have cash registers. We had little wooden doors. And he taught me to give the change, count the change back to the customer.
People can't do that now. People don't know how to count change back.
No. And Kenny asked me after when they lived at the farm, Mom, how did he wanted to buy that top rod for me and make the pie? So I said, I'm not going to do it. That's too much for y'all. I had the opportunity to buy it on his drive-in off of Earl Mabel Attorney. He said, Wilma, I'll sell this to you cheap. He said, they separated. And so he said, you need it, you can send them kids through school. Well, I didn't want the responsibility for ordering all that meat and all that stuff, so I didn't take it. But I look back and see where I could have done it if I would have just been
Motivated or wanted
motivated,
to.
but
Yeah.
I just didn't. And there was a counter in there at the end of the bar, and some women couldn't come to work there, even younger than me. I was just 30-year-old, if I was 30, and so they couldn't work the grill and go wait on the customers. Well, I could. And they said, how do you do it? And I said, well, I just done what I had to do.
You were just good at it. Yeah.
And I just got the 16 year. I worked 14 year drive-ins. I worked at Jerry's for 14 there, and then I worked down at the Rocket. And when I went to the Rocket, I'd go from the grill to the kitchen to the dining room and waitress. I switched to all three places
At the Rocket.
at the Rocket.
Where was that at?
Well, it was down there on the corner of Cherry where independently. Yeah, only you call it when you plant it, but he called it sowing. You sprinkle it. You don't just fix 1 or 2 grains at a time. You just
Sprinkle it in rows?
yeah, in a row. You go alongside the road this way. And he said I sowed it better than what it needed to be done to make good much molasses.
So did you help make the molasses?
No, my sister Joyce went down there with him to the mill. They had a mill that the team pulled
In a circle.
the mill in a circle. And Joyce said that it was down, well, I knew there was one over there on the hill across from where Kelso folks lived when we married, their old farm place. And Joyce said that's where they took it to, and I said, well, I didn't. It was before me and Kills got together, so I didn't know. And after we married, and I was down there, I didn't know until later in years. Joyce told me that when she was young, we lived down there on Magnus Place.
So how do you harvest the cane?
Well, you go along and you have to strip stuff off of the stalk, of the blades off of it, of the stalk.
Okay.
Strip it off, and then you go along with the cane knife and cut it and shock it. And then you haul it to the mill and have it ground up and molasses. They have to have sugar and whatever, but and it's a different kind of cane. You can raise a cane to eat,
Right.
grow a cane that you could eat, or you could grow a different kind of seed for buns to make molasses out of.
So did you ever harvest the cane yourself? Or did you
I
just
shot
sow
it.
You did?
Yeah, sure did.
What would they do with all the molasses?
Well,
Would they sell it?
yeah, they, but you see, if you share a crop, you give a certain percent of your crop. We give a half of a tomato crop, and I thought that's too much when me and Kel raised a tomato crop after we was married. And but you could have a certain percent or else a half. And I thought sharecropping on a half was what I heard, so I went to Oakland's, got a job, but I didn't stay with it. But I said we were going to get on. We're not going to raise this and give him half of it. I didn't think that was right.
So is that what you would do in order to rent the land? You would do a sharecrop?
Yeah. You put the crop out, and they got so much of the crop.
And that would be the rent. That would be
Yeah,
to pay for
yeah.
rent.
The house was on the property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you did that with tomatoes? That's a lot of tomatoes.
Oh yeah, trucks come and haul them off in tomato crates. And the ground was so rocky you couldn't hardly find dirt to set it down in, rough. And we raised her, we sowed her own tomato seed, had beds, hot beds, and had our own tomato plants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was very hard work. He worked on the WPA, and he cut stables, and when we before we moved up closer into the Western Road, when we lived down below in the country. Why, I remember when I was a little girl, he'd go off and cut stables. The creeks get up, and he couldn't get back. Mommy would be scared and down the branches and creeks up, and us starve ourselves. And because he couldn't get back, couldn't cross some creeks. And so anyway, or he'd go hunting. He liked to hunt, and he had a hunting dog, and he'd catch possums and skunks and skin them and sell the hides. Make a little money that way.
Really?
You didn't make much.
Yeah.
We planted green beans, we planted, and then Sometimes we let them get dry, but we will more or less just can the green beans.
Oh, I bet you did a lot of canning, didn't you?
Oh, yes. After they got the first government loan, they got a government loan. I forgot what year it was at. Of course, in World War II, stuff was rationed. We had stamp books. Well, Wilma went off one day and lost the stamp book to the sugar. But we found it.
Oh.
Lord mercy. I was always doing something like that. She sent me to town some eggs to sell, and I thought I was supposed to get money back. Well, she sent after some material, and it took, and that old man owned the store, or smoking, he tried to explain to me, and I couldn't understand. Mom said, well, you ought to know better than that. But the material that I was getting cost, well, I didn't need no, didn't have no money coming. After he took the price of material out.
Okay.
She bartered.
You traded that for the material.
You sold it.
Yeah.
You got so much a dozen for eggs, and so I thought I was supposed to get so much of them eggs, and
He gave you material instead. Huh?
yeah, and I couldn't see that. He tried and tried.
Really?
She raised turkeys, and we'd go out in the field. We had a big old dog. We named him Pal. Where we got it, I wondered later on in years. Not too long back, I seen a dog show on TV, and I saw him, and I thought, well, why in the world the breeds of dogs? Where we got that expensive dog, I don't know. Because it was black and white, we called it Old Pal. And every time we'd go, Mom would take us gooseberry hunting, wild in the woods, and we'd pick. Old Pal would tree a snake, and he'd kill it. And Mama said, we'd get scared. She said, you just let the kids just run fast, because he's not gonna quit till he kills that. He'd kill every snake he got to.
That was a good dog.
Yeah, it was. And it was an expensive breed from what I seen on dog shows. But where we would have got one like that, I don't know. I think a neighbor up above us gave us to us as a pup. And her name was Christian, her last name was. And Mommy raised turkeys, and they'd steal her nest out, and we'd go in the woods and hunt for the nests. And she'd raise turkeys, and I think maybe she sold the turkey eggs.
Oh wow.
And I don't know now. She sold fryers and chickens, so she might have. I guess she sold some turkeys too, but I'm too young to remember that. But we like to wave the branch. If you stepped on a slick rock, it'd fall down.
Yeah.
And boy, what I done, I stepped on a big black snake one day, and it flopped up over my foot. I went to the house screaming. Mama said, "You well, quit screaming. It's gone now." I said, "You scared it as bad as when it flopped over your foot. It's gone." And,
You were upset.
oh, I was screaming. I could still feel it over my foot.
How old do you think you were?
Oh, I wasn't school age.
Oh, you were little.
I was pretty young. And or I might have been, but I didn't go to school. Me and Mommy's sister, we told Mommy we had to walk through the woods a certain way, and she showed us the way. And I missed my first year of school because me and Pauline we told Mom we couldn't find a way. I don't know if Pauline didn't want to or what. And she said, and so then that made me and Joyce in the same grade. Because I didn't start school when I was supposed to. But,
How long of a walk was it to school?
oh, I don't know, probably a half mile or better.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe more than that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What would you do in the wintertime?
Well, What did you do? You just wade the snow in your shoe feet to get out and go. You mean, what would you do in the winter time?
Yeah, I mean, would you walk to school and you didn't have boots or anything?
No,
did you?
we didn't. We walked in our shoe feet. And waded the creek when we lived down at the Lang's place, or when we lived when me and Bill married. The ranches got up. Daddy'd help us across it. We waded in our shoe feet.